yesterday. The suit also calls out Exxon's attempt to blame the public for a plastic crisis the prosecutor says the oil company created. This suit cites a lot of our reporting here at NPR.
I told Kenny yesterday, I'm like, if you need to park anything in front of my place, you do it. I think that lady's a bitch.
Good morning. What specifically is the suit alleging?
I told him, you know what, we could pull my car dolly out and set it there too if you want.
Your car dolly?
My car dolly, that one in the yard. He just laughed. Because that's not something you have to have registered or something like that.
But the premise of that is that ExxonMobil, along with the oil industry as a whole, knew as far back as the 1970s that plastic recycling was never going to work. It's expensive, it's difficult, it's toxic. But the suit says that the company set out on this ambitious plan to deceive consumers about recycling so that they would, buy more plastic. So here's Attorney General Bob.
Forgot what we're going down here for.
Solutions,
Forgot what we're going down here for.
and
Ice cream.
Chicken, ice cream.
Shoes.
It's time
I didn't forget.
pays the price for its deceit.
What sort of evidence or examples does the suit include?
The Attorney General staff unearthed dozens of internal documents.
Yeah, you're too good to talk to us when we get it back.
Executives, where they appear to acknowledge
I'll
to each
break
other
you.
that recycling plastic doesn't work,
Huh?
but then
Fucking
turned
Mexican.
around and told the public the opposite.
They can't see because of the
Here at
sun.
NPR, we've seen some of these
They didn't even know I
memos
waved.
as part
He
of
was
investigative
squinting.
work. In fact, the lawsuit
Squinting because the
cites
sun was in his
NPR
eyes.
6 times. But one of the
I like Mexicans.
points of contention that people will
I also like black people.
recognize is the chasing arrows.
I didn't say I didn't like him, I just think they're fucking lazy.
They used to be.
Decades. And the suit alleges that Exxon
Okay,
and other
whatever.
companies
I work
manipulated
with the
states
people.
into requiring
They're still lazy then.
even though the industry knew that
And that's what you have here.
Well, the Mexicans I work with, they get fucking special
The company
privileges.
said in a statement
Like those
that
one gal, just because she's been there for a while, not only does she get a set schedule, which nobody else does, she never does the freezer, never does dairy. She never does groceries. She only does non-food items like paper towels, and toilet paper,
I think
laundry,
we
and
should talk
stuff.
about that. That's not even fair.
It's not, but they need people to work, and she does a good job. The only thing is they only do certain things, and it's like, this is stupid. This is bullshit. I'm fucking sitting there struggling to get my fucking load out, and she's fucking dicking around with shopping carts full of stupid shit. It's like, hey, you want to talk about ice cream? No.
No helping glass.
It's just irritating. It's the same way. It was the same way in Steamboat. The only thing in Steamboat is they're fucking all for it.
It's just trash.
Nobody speaks English there.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
When you say something to a mass audience, you're really addressing mass audiences. Millions of people hear this program. For example, people across the political spectrum, and
Donate
some
your
may hear
car.
different messages
Donate your
from
house.
the very same words. Because
Donate your
people
kids.
bring themselves to
Oh,
that
wait, you
exchange.
can't do that yet.
At this month's presidential debate, tens of millions of people listened and watched, and some of that audience had their own special take on former President Donald Trump's false debate claim about Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. Here's NPR's Odette Newsom.
Trump stunned many Americans when he said this during the debate.
I think we don't need Trump. I think Trump's
They're
gonna be.
eating the dogs, the people that
Kinda
came
like
in.
Hitler.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
That's
The
not
people
true.
that
Huh?
live there.
That was not
Jeff
true.
Schauser of the Southern Poverty Law Center says
I mean, that same day they had.
neo-Nazis.
The groups that I monitor, whether they're neo-Nazi or white nationalistic,
She's late. She's on the phone.
will live in almost disbelief that they had a presidential candidate recycle and reuse the rhetoric that has been popular in these movements for decades.
One group in particular was celebrating. It was the Blood
Why
Tribe.
don't they just
by
put their
two
phone
former
on something like this?
The Blood Tribe is an exclusive
They set it up there to where they can talk. That's legal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Swastika flags. It's relatively small. Schauser estimates between 50 and 80 members across the country. When Trump said what he said during the debate, the Blood Tribe's reaction on social media was immediate. It posted that the group, quote, pushed Springfield into the public consciousness. But extremism researcher Cass Troy says that's not quite true.
They take all responsibility for it.
even though they don't deserve it.
Troy, as Greek mythology fans might guess, is a pseudonym, and Pierre is not using her real name because of the Blood Tribe's history of doxing its critics. Troy says that before neo-Nazis jumped on the Springfield bandwagon, a couple of far-right social media accounts were stoking racial division in Springfield. When one of them, and Wokeness, posted the false pet-eating claim, it had nearly 5 million views. That's a much wider reach than any neo-Nazi group gets. Still, Troy says it's alarming to see this convergence in language between neo-Nazis and influencers on the right.
You know, if you can't separate out your feelings about basic decency when it comes to immigration, maybe you can separate out basic decency when it comes to not being in league with a Nazi.
Many may not have known that the anti-Haitian claim echoed neo-Nazi propaganda. But Troy says at some point, these neo-Nazis started showing up in person. And that's when it should have been clear.
I've come to bring a word of warning. Stop what you're doing before it's too late.
In late August, one leader of the Blood Tribe even spoke during public comment at a Springfield City Commission meeting before he was removed.
I could ask the police to go ahead.
I'm sure I don't need to tell you.
It just sound threatening if you go ahead and just peacefully be removed.
These people.
Springfield's rapid repopulation by a non-native group has filled jobs, but also brought challenges. City leaders have said they need more federal support. But for extremist groups like the Blood Tribe, the flattening of these complex issues into a divisive, anti-immigrant campaign has been too good to pass up.
Yeah.
Patriot Front and Proud Boys have joined in too. Cass Troy says that none of the Blood Tribe or any neo-Nazi group's involvement, though, is about helping Trump.
They're not playing at politics.
Troy says what they're doing is trying to change the culture, to get their ideas out to a wider audience that may be receptive right now.
They're
Force
playing
their
at
ideas?
messaging and what's getting traction. They want the idea to move forward. They don't actually care who does it.
That idea being an authoritarian, white ethno-state. Odette Youssef, NPR News.